Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Plus podcast. I'm your host, Kesha Hill, and today we're diving into a crucial question for many entrepreneurs. Should I be a sole proprietorship or an LLC? Choosing the right business structure can have significant implications for your taxes, liability, and overall business operations. Welcome to the Profit Plus podcast. This podcast is where we will explore the world of accounting and finance. I'm your host, Kesha Hill, and each week we will dive deep into practices, insights, and stories that inspire you to master the art of accounting. Whether you're seeking clarity in complex financial concepts or looking to advance your accounting career, you're in the right place. So sit back, grab your calculator, and join us on this journey to accounting excellence. Let's get started. First, we're going to understand the basics. So before we dive into the pros and cons, let's first understand what a sole proprietorship and an LLC are. A sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business structure, owned and operated by one person. It's easy to set up and offers complete control of the owner. On the other hand, a limited liability company, or LLC, is more formal structure that combines the simplicity of a sole proprietorship with the limited liability of a corporation. A sole proprietorship means the business and the owner are legally the same entity. This can be a benefit for tax purposes, but a risk in terms of limited liability. An LLC, however, is a separate legal entity providing personal liability protection to its owners or members. And when I say personal liability protection, it protects your personal assets like your car or your home. Now let's break down these concepts a little bit further. We're going to be talking about the pros and cons of a sole proprietorship. The simplicity and cost effectiveness of this structure are significant advantages. You don't have to file complex paperwork to start. You have complete control over your business. Many people start as a sole proprietor because it's easy to set up and they don't have to worry about annual fees or complicated filings. It allows them to focus more on growing their business. However, there are also downsides. The biggest risk is personal liability. Since there's no legal distinction between you and your business, your personal assets are at risk if your business faces legal issues or debt. While the tax benefits are appealing, the lack of liability protection can be a significant risk in today's litigious society. Having your personal assets exposed can be dangerous. Another downside is difficulty in raising capital. Investors and banks may be hesitant to lend money to a sole proprietorship due to the perceived risks. Now we're going to talk about the benefits and the cons, so the pros and cons of an LLC. One of the biggest advantages of a limited liability protection, also known as LLC, this means that your personal assets are generally protected from business debts and lawsuits. An LLC provides a layer of protection that a sole proprietorship does not. If the business incurs debt or is sued, the owner's personal assets are typically not at risk. An LLC also offers tax flexibility. You can choose to be taxed as a sole proprietor partnership, S Corp, or C Corp, depending on what benefits you the most. The ability to choose how you are taxed can provide significant tax savings and strategic benefits, especially as your business grows. However, forming and maintaining an LLC is more complex and costly than a sole proprietorship. There are formation fees, annual state fees, and more paperwork involved. Additional costs and paperwork are initially daunting, but the benefits of liability protection and tax flexibility made it worth my while for my business. I opted to do the LLC as a S Corp corporation. And with that, I have the benefit of being able to pay myself a reasonable salary. And so my business takes care of some of the employment tax, and then I take care of some of the employment tax. So that's one of the benefits that I'm seeing in my business as far as doing an S Corp election as an LLC. So we're going to now talk about making a decision. So how do you decide which structure is best for you? It depends on your business goals, the level of risk you're willing to take, and how you plan to grow your business. If you're starting small with minimal risk and want to keep things simple, a sole proprietorship might be the way to go. But if you're planning to grow, attract investors, or need liability protection, an LLC could be more advantageous. Consider consulting with a legal or financial advisor to understand specific implications of your business. Your decision will impact not just your taxes and paperwork, but also your personal liability as it grows. So now let's move on to some questions and answers from some of our listeners. I'm starting a freelance graphic design business. Should I go with a sole proprietorship or an LLC? Here's my answer. It's a great question. For freelance graphic design businesses, if you're just starting and want to keep things simple, a sole proprietorship may be a good option. However, if you plan to scale, hire employees, or if your work involves any significant risk or liability, you might want to consider an LLC. Here's question number 2. I want to open a small restaurant. Which structure is better? Here's my answer. For a restaurant, consider the higher risk of liability, potential for growth, and the need for significant investment capital. An LLC could be more beneficial. The liability protection alone could be worth the additional cost and complexity. To wrap up, the decision between a sole proprietorship and an LLC is crucial and can significantly impact your business's structure, as well as your business's future. Take the time to assess your business needs, consult with professionals, and make an informed choice. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of the Profit Plus podcast. I'm your host, Kesha Hill. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. Until next time, keep pushing forward, stay curious, and remember, success is just around the corner.